hi everybody. Welcome to this interview with me and then Amber. So we have got a special guest here for you today. Now, today we're going to be talking about English confidence, all things about English confidence. Because I know a lot of us, we tend to second guess what we say in English, or we feel anxious, right? Like we feel anxiety just like rising up in our bodies when we're talking to native English speakers. And it's not a nice feeling. It's not a comfortable feeling, right? Like we feel like our real personality is not coming out when we are talking to native English speakers in English. And so there are so many challenges that I personally have gone through. And then our guest here, Amber, she personally has gone through as well. But now that we're both on the other side of it, we can tell you with confidence that it's really, really a way out. And so our guest here today, Amber, she's also a student of mine who just graduated from Transformation 360. And so very, very exciting for her to share her journey of building up that English confidence for herself. So Amber, again, welcome. Thank you for your time and then thank you for joining us today. Firstly, would you like to tell us a little bit more about
Hi,
yourself?
Anita. Thanks for having me. My name is Amber. I'm from Taiwan. I've been living Australia since 2015. And during this year, I've been working hard for 2 years and being a student, learning language, and also study uni 1 year here. And during the working holidays, I come to Australia. I have to say, I know nothing about Australian English. In my head, I only think is there's American English and British English. But when I come here, it just completely frustrating for me. I come here, I feel like I have never learned English before. Yeah, I have like a zero. I feel like I'm deaf. I can't really understand what I'm talking about. In my mind, my English still like, how are you? Fine, thank you. But in here, there are so many ways to say how are you. Like could be like, how's it going? What's news? Yeah.
That's
So
right.
I feel like my words pretty narrow since and then I came to Australia. I feel like it's pretty overwhelming. There's so much things I didn't know yet. So I have learned a lot.
Yeah, I get that. I really, really get that. When you're new to an environment, it's so overwhelming. Like it's exciting, but very, very overwhelming at the same time. Yeah. And then so I want you to talk a little bit more about the culture shocks that you personally have experienced.
So the culture shock I've been experienced in my workplace, I feel like they like to compliment you even when you do something wrong. They like to compliment you like, oh, you're doing good, and then your beauty, like they like to
Yeah.
say something good to you, and then second, we'll put the I think something you need to improve in the list. They tell you, oh, I think what you should do to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's the way I feel like, oh, it's so different when I was in Taiwan, because in Taiwan we always like very strict and just very direct
Mm,
tell you like, no, it's wrong. Like you've been like rejected. I say, it's not good.
I
So
see.
that's the way I feel like, oh, I feel so comfortable to working here because and
Yeah.
also feel more happy here.
Yeah, it's honestly such a different way of giving feedback. It honestly
Exactly.
makes you feel like, yes, I'm doing a good job and I can do a good job. It's like, oh, they actually believe in me, right? Like it's a very nice feeling. Yeah, 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 I completely agree. And so now, Amber, tell us a little bit more about because like obviously you work in an English speaking environment and then if I remember correctly, you are probably one of the only non-native English speaker at work. Right. So how did you used to feel about speaking English? What were the challenges that you were experiencing before?
So in the beginning, for me, as I said before, just got Australia and then I couldn't understand about what they say because their accent's so strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and also in the beginning, my job was just making the kebab, so I don't need to interact with customer. I don't need to do the customer service in the beginning. because I wasn't confident about to speaking English with them. Yeah.
Mm.
And when I stay here longer and I start take a English lesson, then I can I can understand what they say. And then I still feel like I don't feel confident to talk to them
Mm.
because when they say something to me, in my head just pop up the questions like pardon, sorry, pardon. I feel like I have answered a lot of pardon.
I
Yeah.
see.
So what I feel is like I'm afraid to talk to them. Yeah. I was afraid to talk to them and try or if I'm try like if I
Um,
say something and I will try to avoid like the
I
conversation.
see. I see. And
Yeah.
would you say, because yes, I think this is a very, very common problem a lot of non-native English speakers face, right? And I agree, like the first step is, yes, you do need to build up that English foundation first, which is what you did in the past. But then once you got that solid English foundation, you realize you're still lacking that confidence in communicating, interacting with native English speakers. Would you say it's really because of some of the negative experiences that you had in the past where people kept asking you to repeat what you say, and then did that kind of just like plant self-doubt, like seeds of doubt in your mind?
Exactly. And then my colleague, they are like native speakers. They are native speakers. They sometimes they were teasing me like, "Oh, your English is shocking. Did your friends know that you like? Did you take the English lesson? Like, even they're teasing me like, oh, you should use the Aussie accent to speak about the cockroach. Like they were teasing me my accent. Yeah. So I was like, when they speak about this, I was like, oh, am I really bad? And my English is not good enough. So
Yeah,
I will start like, okay,
yeah, I get that.
even
I get
I don't
that.
even want to talk to them as well. Like, okay, maybe just doing my work. But
Yeah.
when you shut down yourself, then yeah,
Yeah,
everything
and
just
that's really on them. And well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you went through something like that. And that's it really says more about them than it does about you, right? Like you are an amazing person, right? Like working and then living in your second language. And that itself is already an achievement. And I think a lot of people don't realize like how hard it really, really can be when you're working fully completely in your second language. Like it really really is challenging. Yeah, and it's so easy for people just say, this make these kind of unkind comments when they haven't even gone through, they haven't even experienced the same thing themselves. So I'm honestly, I'm really really proud of you. I'm really really proud of you and what you went through before, and then like now that you have the confidence you desire, then you can make sure that it doesn't happen to you again, right? So I actually want to know, have you noticed any differences in your level of confidence when speaking English now, and how would you describe those changes that you have felt over the past couple of months as well?
so since I start this transformations 360, I feel like I've be gradually changed about my confidence. Um, like talking to the people. I used to just doing the simple customers. I'm afraid to do the small talk. Really, really afraid to
I
small
get
talk.
that.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
just even feel like embarrassed, like, oh, what if the customer is not interested in what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or sometimes when I say something like because my voice like always like very small and then like be mumbling and then they were always like, oh, sorry, and then it would just like made me
Yeah.
feel like oh, very timid and to say to them. And now I feel like through this the program, so I start doing the journaling. So
Mm.
journaling about the daily life events during the week. So I would just notice like three things. So that I can to talk and share with my colleague or even my customer, my regular customer. So I was just gonna,
Yeah.
oh, what happened to me during this week, and then there was something they will give me the good feedback that feel like, oh, it was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. I that kind of so that links to one of the key things that we talked about before, right? Like in
Yeah.
conversations, we need two things. Like we need to have that language to talk about what we want to say, and then we need to have that content as well. And one of the key mistakes a lot of people tend to make is we don't pay enough attention to what's going on in our lives. So when we are talking, we realize our mind is completely blank because we don't pay attention and we don't know what to say. We don't have any materials to work with in conversations. Yeah, so I love the journaling exercise that you have been doing consistently, and it really, really has paid off.
Yeah, and also about the comprehensive assessment. This
Mm,
part is my favorite part
yeah, tell
because
me.
I feel like I didn't know much about myself before I doing this assessment. I feel looking to these questions in this assessment, I was like, oh, what is my belief? What is my value? What's my self-image in my
Yeah,
head? So then through the communication, what should what do I want to present for myself? Yeah. I feel
yeah,
like before I was like zero, like I don't know. And then through this dialogue, through the conversation, through these questions asked myself, and then I found out my value, and
yeah,
then I'm clarifying my beliefs. Yeah, and I know like when I start talking to other people, what this belief will with me, and while I'm talking to others, so that gave me uh, the strength to like step out of
mm.
my comfort zone.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So
Yeah,
yeah, really, really. So I still know my belief is improvement, courage, and patience. So
yeah,
when I talking to someone and I'll just think these three. So when I know in this, when sometimes if I make some mistake, I won't stuck in the mistake in my head too long. I use like, oh, when I say something wrong, and I was, oh my God, why I say this? Why I say, and like, it's like always stick in the past, not
yeah,
jump out like, oh, no, it's okay. Just everyone make the mistake. Don't beat
yeah.
yourself too hard. Yeah. So
Yeah.
really, this is really give me a lot.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that because I do remember, Amber, I think it was probably in the beginning of the program, right? And then there was one time you actually mentioned, oh, I honestly don't know how to answer any of the questions that we did during the sessions
I
because
was
the
so
questions
struggling
went
this
really,
question.
really deep. Yeah, they were deep questions.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was so struggling, and I'm so happy. Like, okay, now I have a bit clear in my head, like who, um, who I want to be, who I
Yeah.
am, where I'm come from. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because
I feel like, because this really, really give me the confidence to stand in front of the people and speak up for myself.
yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so well said. To have, that kind of confidence, you really have to understand yourself first. And then when you understand
Exactly.
yourself, then you know how you can present yourself to the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people used to say, "Oh, just speak as much as possible as you can," and then, "Oh, don't just be in the thick skin, don't be afraid." But like, how?
How?
We don't know how. And then everyone have the different issue, like what make us feel like less confident. Everyone
Yeah.
has the different issue, and you need to go through. And I feel like through this journey is really, really important. And I feel like everyone, everyone learning English or learning the second language really, really need to go through. People who are struggling about being confident, really, really, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just finding yourself and then,
That's
yeah,
right. That's right. Yeah. You have to find who you are first. And then so you
Mm,
know how to present yourself in your second
yeah,
language or third language or whatever language it is. Yeah, but you really have to understand yourself first so you can present the
yeah,
most authentic version of yourself to the world. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Oh my
authentic.
goodness, I love it. That's so well said. And so, like Amber, I'm curious to know. Well, actually, I want to know if there are any other things that you might have done that made you feel so much more confident now. Is there anything else that comes to mind?
Yes. So through this journey, I actually attend some social occasion. So
Mm.
attend my fiance's friend wedding and also his friend's dinner. So I think first time I attend the wedding, before I attend the wedding, I feel like, oh my God, I probably would have the butterfly in my tummy. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't know why I just don't know what's going on. Uh, I got there and then I start like talking to people and then my tip is I put the spotlight on someone. I ask people questions, especially for girl. I was talking about their outfit, their makeup.
Yeah.
I'll compliment them, and then they will give me some good feedback. They also compliment me as well, and then we start like a conversation to know each other. Oh, what do you do for a living? And then yeah, like if the holiday day coming up, where did you guys plan to go to? Yeah, so sort of
That's so
thing, and it's
beautiful.
just made
Yeah.
me, yeah, and it just comes naturally, and I also feel like I'm different. I'm happier. Really,
Yeah.
I used to hate attend the social event. I hate it so much because every time my fiance told me like, oh, whose birthday coming up, we're gonna go into, and then just before the week, I already struggling or stressed about, oh my God, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna say. Yeah,
Mm.
and through this program, even my fiance, he can tell the difference. He can tell
Yeah,
the
I
change
remember that.
of me as well. Yeah, he said, "Oh, I can see there's a social butterfly here." Yeah, he said he never seen me talk that much, being talkative. He never seen me being talkative before.
And this
Yeah,
is actually
so
the real version of you, the chatty one, the chatty, but this is actually the real you.
yeah, yeah, and I didn't realize I can be that talkative. I always used to
Mm.
think like I'm always quiet. I'm just being a listener like that. And yeah, I just never think about I can become very attracting.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
really helped me a lot. Being curious is really helped me a lot. Like last week, my fiance, his colleague in the hospital, they have the farewell. So
mm,
I attend their farewell in the middle part, and then I didn't know that.
yeah,
I haven't seen one of them. And I was just sitting there and then I just try to listen their conversation, try to find there's something, if there's something I can cut in, or if I
yeah,
can pick up some questions to ask them if they are really interesting, and then they can talk to me and I can learn something from them as well. Yeah.
yeah,
So it really,
yeah,
really helped me.
yeah. It
And I
really
feel
is
like in this
nice.
way, yeah, and it just reduced my anxious. I always anxious about like attend this event,
Mm.
attend the friend yeah event. Yeah, always anxious. But when I attend this occasion, I feel like I don't feel like stressed like I used to be.
That's
Yeah.
really, really nice. Once you learn how to, like adopt that service thinking, instead of you just thinking about ourselves and then thinking whether we're
Hmm.
perfect enough or not. At the end of the day, in a conversation, if we're being completely honest, very often people like to have audience. People like to have someone, people like to have someone who's listening to what they have to say. So why not give them the stage? Why not give them the platform and then you learn to support them in a conversation? And then if they are interested enough in you as well, then they will do the same thing for you. But then now that they have done the talking, and then I think that would make you feel a lot more relaxed in the conversation. You don't have to do the talking first. They do it first, and then you can do it later on when you feel a lot more comfortable with the person. Yeah, it's really, really nice. So, Amber, is there anything else, like one last piece of advice that you would like to share with anyone who's feeling anxious right now when they're talking to native English speakers, especially, like in group settings, or they're just like really, really doubting their English? Is there anything else that you can say to them and then to help them along the journey?
Um, I want to say don't beat yourself too hard. Really, really don't beat yourself because master a language is not easy. Really, really not easy. I think also one thing is we are underestimate about mastering or learning the language. Really, really, and then um always being open mind and then exploring, finding yourself, and
Yeah.
then go with the Anita's program.
Thank you so much. I didn't pay her to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but that's so sweet. Thank you.
It will really help you a lot. I think a lot of us, we are not like not good enough on the English knowledge or something. We just don't know how to being confident. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really heard some people say confident is a skill. Not everyone was born in confident. No. You can learn it, and yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's a skill, you can learn it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
just
that's
being
right.
patient. Mm.
That's right. That's so well said. And it really is a muscle that you can train. It's just like going to the gym. Right now, you want to go to the English confidence gym and then really push yourself out of your comfort zone as much as you can. And then when you are doing it, how do you do it in a way that feels fulfilling and is safe for yourself at the same time? Then that kind of that's where the work lies. But if you train that muscle enough times, then you will get to where Amber is today, right? Like it's a completely different version of Amber compared to 6, 7 months ago when I first met her. It honestly, it's like day and night. It is such a huge difference. But now we're seeing the real her, and I think that's really, really a gift. Not just to herself and then also to the world as well. Like now we can really see the real her, and I think it's such a beautiful thing, and it's such a beautiful process. And yeah, I'm so glad that you were willing to do the work and continuously you're still doing the work. And yeah, it's just been so nice to be able to be on this journey
Oh,
with
thank you
you.
for having me. And I hope the people who are in this program just enjoy your journey. Just try to explore it as possible as you can. Yeah. And then being patient and then practice, practice, practice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll get there.